Hey YouTube land, welcome to another action figure review from Tyconders. Now, today I'm looking at three figures together because they're all part of the same wave and part of the same movie franchise. So I'm looking at three of the figures that are available over here in Ireland. For some reason, they haven't put the Catwoman figure out. I don't know, they only seem to have these three figures, which is Riddler, Penguin, and Batman himself. So I picked these up in my local toy store called Smith's. They had these ones only, as I said, I've aforementioned. They don't have the Catwoman figure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just quickly measure these guys up. Then we'll have a quick look at the boxes, and then we'll have a look at the gear that they come with. So for Batman, he stands just around a little over 7 inches. The Penguin stands around the 7-inch mark. And Riddler stands just around the 7-inch mark as well. So they're all in the 7-inch scale. And before we go on with the articulation and sculpt and design of the figures, we'll have a quick look at the boxes. So for the boxes, if I just move the figures out of the way, hopefully everyone will stand. They all come in the same multiverse, DC multiverse figure, McFarlane figure boxes with the black, white and blue packaging. You have the Batman movie logo down the bottom. You have the name of the character on the side of the box and where it's from, so the Batman. On the back you have action figure art of the individual figure. So for Riddler, it's the same one that comes on the collectible card. And then you have the other figures in the wave, which is Batman, Penguin, Catwoman, and they do show Batman again. It's the Bat cycle. I think it's the Bat Cycle, not the Drifter one. It's the Bat Cycle. Now, as far as I know, the Bat Cycle doesn't come with a Batman. It just comes in an extra hand for him so he can hold on to the bike. Again, same thing with the Penguin. Penguin has that action figure artwork on the back of the box. Same name of the character on the side. Same kind of logo. And again, same thing with Batman. Sorry if these are sideways, but it's the only way I can get them squished in to this display area. So you have the Batman image from as the action figure in action. So boxes aside, I'm going to actually take these completely out of the way because that way it gives me a little bit more room to maneuver. So accessory wise, we'll go through the default accessories first. So for the figures, they all come with this stand. I didn't take the ones out of both Batman and Penguin's box, but it's the exact same stand that comes with all of them and has the DC logo in the corner. It would have been nice if they actually had the Batman logo as opposed to the DC logo, or even a combination of both. That would have been nice. And then each of them come with a trading card. So you have the Penguin's one, the Riddler's one, and the Batman one. On the back of each one, there is a brief bio. So this is the one for Batman, so I'll hold that there for a second if you want to read it. Then this is the Penguin's one, or Oswald Cobblepot. And then the last one is the Riddler's one. So it has a character name and a kind of a brief bio from the film about him. So if you want to have a look at that, you can pause the video there and read those up. I'm not going to stick too much onto them. So if I bring the figures back in, we'll start with the one who has the most accessories, which is the Penguin. So if I can get the other two to stand. And we'll go through the Penguin. Now the Penguin is, not only does he have the most accessories, he also has the most he actually has the most different of articulation. He doesn't have a double hinge knees like the other figures. He only has a single hinge knee, and same with his elbows. He comes with two hands. So he has, in the box, he has this two pistol grip hands, and then for alternate hands he has a pew pew hand, which is the way that McFarlane are getting around with the No Guns with Toys figure, or from Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers have some insane thing where they don't want their DC characters to be associated with having guns, even though other weapons are okay, like swords and blades and stuff, but guns are a no-no for some reason. So even though if you haven't seen the movie, well, if you've seen any Penguin sort of things, you know that he always uses guns. The one accessory he doesn't come with, which is a big shame, is he doesn't come with an umbrella. Even though if I just bring the card art, the way it's very subtle. I'm not sure you can see it in the card art, but the card that comes with him, he actually is holding an umbrella in one hand. It would have been nice if they actually even included an umbrella to kind of, you know, the staple sort of Penguin style stuff. So head is on a ball joint. He does get a good range of movement. His body does have waist articulation, but it's very hindered and very hidden by this giant waistcoat piece. This waistcoat is one piece over this torso. The torso is a sculpted piece with a shirt and tie, and then you have this kind of trench coat with a kind of undercoat, which I think is the rest of his suit underneath that, and then you have the trench coat over it. So he is kind of an interesting design. His arms do have that complete, you know, has a good range of movement. He even has that kind of weird butterfly joint in the shoulder, so his shoulders can move out a bit. He does actually have bicep swivel, which is weird. It's a hard to use joint, but it is there. As I said, he does have that single jointed elbow, and the elbow does have a swivel as well. He has the rocker hinge, or not rocker hinge, but the ball hinge like hands. So it is hard to see which position it is because the cuff of the coat does go over it. You can swap out the hands. I'm not going to bother swapping out the hands for this review because one of the accessories I have will, or one of the accessories that isn't for him will fit this figure, and I want to show that in a little minute, in a few minutes. So as I said, he does have the leg splits, unfortunately hindered by the coat because the coat doesn't really get out of the way that much. He can kick forward not too bad, and he doesn't get much of a reverse kick. His knees are on single joints, so he has a big kind of block hinge. His knee rotates as well. He has the ball joint again with the feet, and he has toe articulation. The ball joint in the feet are hindered by the pants, the way the pants cover over the ankles. So you do have a slight bit of hindering on most of those accessories. Now, the accessories that I want to show, I got this with one of the McFarlane Fortnite figures. It's from, I can't remember, the aimbot I think it came with. So it's actually quite a nice pistol, and it is in scale to these guys, so it does fit into his trigger finger hand quite nicely. And if you want a gun that looks quite nice with your Penguin, you can give him that. Unfortunately, I haven't found any decent umbrella stand-ins basically, but I'm sure there's ones out there. But overall, he's a nice figure. Head sculpt is actually quite nice as well. I know some people haven't been too happy with some of the head sculpts, and he also has side-eye. In fact, I think everyone in this wave have side-eye going on, so there is that. But overall, he's not a bad figure. I do like him. I've seen people customize the head sculpt to look a bit more kind of realistic, with more realistic skin tones and stuff like that, and it looks fantastic. So like, if you want to go the whole hog and repaint him, that's up to yourself, but he does look pretty good. So we'll go on to the hero of this movie, or the vigilante of this movie, which is Batman. He's, again, not a bad figure. He only comes with one accessory, which is already in his hand, which is his grapple launcher, or grapnel launcher. Again, he does come with that same figure base. If I can pop this out, it does peg in quite hard. Actually, yeah, it is a interesting peg on this. It's not just a flat, you know, it's actually a peg. It's not just a flat thing, so just you can get in and out quite easily. The idea behind this is, in the movie, again, if you haven't seen the movie, it's not really a big spoiler because it's not really, you know, it's not really looked upon. It's just something he has. But The grapple launchers actually come out from his wrist gauntlet, so they're actually stored in here, and then they just slide out when he needs them. So it's not a big thing, but it is kind of a cool design. It is something that I haven't really done before in other figures or other Batman movies. It was always kind of like something you grabbed from his belt, but this kind of has a more, the way it slides out from the hand gives it a more kind of, I wouldn't say real world, but it gives it a more kind of, you know, if he's like in the middle of falling off a building, he wouldn't want to be reaching for his belt to try and find something. If he just presses a button and just slides up, so he has the grapple launcher, so he can use it to get out of danger or move away. So it is that. Oops, sorry, I keep knocking the camera. But head sculpt isn't too bad. The likeness is quite on for Robert Pattinson. I know, again, I've seen people customize the head on this to have a far more movie look to it. For the price point, these guys are only around 20 bucks, 20 euros, so they're not too bad. Well, actually, they're 25 euros over here in Ireland. They're only 20 in the States. They recently dropped the prices on them as from when the movie came out to 20 euros each. So the Riddler I picked up for 20. The rest were all 24, 25, thereabouts. But they're not bad figures. Now, there's a variation on this guy with an unmasked head. So, and I'm not sure if there's one of the artist-proof kind of unpainted versions of this guy, so you can paint it yourself, or a gold or silver version. They could be. I think the only gold version of this guy is the larger 12-inch statue one. I could be wrong. But overall sculpting is quite nice. The cape on it is that kind of soft rubbery material. It's not a soft goods, but it is nice enough to get out of the way. You can see sculpting on the back. They didn't just like stop when it rotated around. He does have the, I think these were supposed to be the actual things for the grapple launcher that, you know, kind of fire into it. I can't remember actually if he even used these things in the movie, but he does have those sculpted onto the side of his armor. The whole bat suit for this movie is actually quite a nicely done bat suit. I will give him that. It is kind of reminiscent. It reminds me a bit of the tactical bat suit, as in this one from the Ben Affleck, kind of from the Justice League movie. So it kind of reminds me a bit of that, but with a little bit more, less armoring on it. But overall, it's a really nice figure. He does have all the same articulation. The arms can rotate around. Now, you will get into some kind of clearance issues with these pads on the shoulders, so just be wary of that. It does have the double jointed elbows. He does have the ball joint on the wrist. He has a leg forward and back. He has an ab crunch. Gets more back than forward. He can't really crunch forward that much, but his head is on a ball joint, so you can look left, right. He has some tilt to it. His right hand is in this permanent outstretched kind of slap sort of thing. So the only way to get a second grip hand is when you buy the Batcycle. Now, I have seen people who bought the Batcycle and have done a review for it, and they found that the hand on the Batcycle, the hand that comes with the Batcycle, is a lot more glossy than the matte kind of ones that you get with the actual Bat figure. So one grip hand always looks glossy, the other one doesn't. So it is a bit interesting, a bit kind of weird that way. He does have the double crunch or double jointed knees. It almost looks like he has boot swivel, but it doesn't. I think the boot is a separate piece that's slid over the leg, but it doesn't move. And then you have the same rocker ankles. Now again, the way the boot is sculpted, it does hinder, or it does get in the way a small bit of the rocker ankle, but it is there, and he has the toe thing, and he has the two peg holes on the bottom of the feet. He does have a little bit of swivel as well on the thigh. Not much, but it is there, which is a bit better than what poor old Penguin had. But overall, he's not a bad looking figure. And then on to the Riddler. Now, I will admit, this isn't my favorite design for Riddler. I'm more accustomed to the green two-piece suit kind of type thing that he normally wears in the kind of more iconic kind of depictions of Riddler, or even the all-green onesie that he used to wear in the 60s show, with the purple kind of eye mask type thing. I'm kind of more akin with that. This is an interesting take on him. I really, I did enjoy him in the movie. He was fairly menacing and fairly interesting. Now, accessory wise, he only comes with the one accessory, which is this spatula type looking thing. Well, it's not a spatula, it's what do they call it in the movie? It's something for doing flooring, for like, I think for either knocking the wood into the place or for knocking or lifting up floorboards, something along those lines. But it's like a joinery type tool. So you have that. His head is quite interesting as well. You can see he has the mask on. We also, the way they did it, they have the kind of saran wrap stuff around the head, and his glasses are a separate piece. Now, it would be nice if the glasses had been kind of painted with maybe a black or something, just the frames, because the frames are the same kind of clear plastic as the back of the head. And the way the face is done, this mask piece is a separate part kind of glued over that head. You can kind of see it on the side there where there's a split where it kind of connects on. So it is kind of a weird way they did it, but they did pull it off quite nicely. It does look exactly like it does in the film. Head is on a ball joint, so you get some range of movement. He does have this kind of bottom lower neck flap, so it does tend to rub up against the corners when you're trying to get the head tilt, but he does still have a good range of movement. Again, full range of movement in the arms with the shoulders. It does have that kind of butterfly type joint type thing, double joint elbows. He has only a closed fist on the left hand. He does have the bicep swivel, and then he has a grip hand on the right for holding that tool, multi-tool, evil tool. It's a kind of a shame that they didn't give him the kind of roll of duct tape type thing, even if it was a solid silver kind of plastic accessory just attached onto him. Even in the card art, you see they actually made a custom one for him. Whoever did the card, the photo for the card art. It would have been kind of cool if they had included that in the actual figure. Just get Oswald to stand up there after him knocking his hands around. Legs are a little bit hindered because of his waistcoat. He can kick forward, not too much back, but it is hindered. He does have some ab crunch. I think there is like a torso underneath this, but it's very much hindered by this waistcoat piece, or bomber jacket, or whatever you want to call it. He does still have the double jointed knees, just like all the other figures, and he does have these kind of military boots on. And the way they did it, you can see the ball joint is kind of fairly visible on these, so it's not too hidden, but you still have that good range of movement with the rocker, ankle, and then you have the toe articulation and the 2 peg holes on the bottom of the feet. So, and you can't really do splits again as well because of this waistcoat piece. So out of all of these figures, only Batman has kind of more articulation than everyone else. Everyone else seems to have gotten a bit raw deal with the way they're designed, but that's the way the movie designs are as opposed to how the figures were designed. I don't think they could have gotten away with doing any other sort of design aspect to get more range of movement. Maybe they could, but the way they pulled it off, they look pretty good. Overall, I do like these figures. I did enjoy the movie. The movie is actually really, really good. It is a bit of a long movie if you haven't seen it, so just be wary. It is a fairly long trek of a movie, but it doesn't seem to drag out too much. But overall, these figures are good for what they are. I know there's a Catwoman. There's 2 versions of Catwoman. There's the one with her hood up, and then there's the unmasked kind of Selina Kyle figure. I have not seen either of those. I do have a couple of figures pre-ordered on Big Bad Toy Store. I think it's mostly the bikes and the unmasked Batman, so when I get that, I'll try and do a comparison. But overall, really good movie, really good figure line. Again, McFarlane, for the price point, they have knocked it out of the park with the sculpting and design of these figures. Again, as I said, there is some downsides to the sculpts, and they're hindered in certain areas, but you still can get a good range of movement and posing if you're up for doing figure photography, so you can get some good shots with these guys. So overall, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found this entertaining and enjoyable. And as always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Cheers, guys.